Sky News is a mainstream, trusted media outlet. It's a deserved reputation for the broadcaster, which has spent decades establishing its reliable brand. The problem is that one offshoot of Sky News, sister channel Sky News Arabia, now threatens to pollute that reputation. This licensed arm of the broadcaster is accused of publishing biased reports and misleading on-the-ground broadcasts that whitewash atrocities in Sudan. Here you see Tsabeih Mubarak-Katir, a reporter for Sky News Arabia. She was on the ground in El Fasher covering events in Sudan. In the country, a paramilitary group called the Rapid Support Forces is accused of committing war crimes and killing thousands of civilians. But Tsabeih has painted a very different picture of what happened in the city, reporting the arrival of the militia as a chance to provide aid to civilians and casting doubt on the widespread evidence of atrocities. This video shows her with an RSF commander named Shiraz Khalid. In the clip, Mubarak tells the commander, "We are with you." Khalid, however, was earlier filmed calling for RSF troops to rape women during the offensive in northern Sudan in order to, quote, cleanse their lineage. So who is Tsabeih? The Sudanese reporter has worked for Sky News Arabia since May 2022, sharing her many appearances on the channel on her own social media accounts. She is married to Ibrahim al-Mirani, a Sudanese politician who sided with the RSF and is now part of their unrecognised parallel government. A post on al-Mirani's X account describes Tsabeih as a strong woman defeating, quote, online misinformation. But concerns about biased coverage obscuring war crimes are not isolated to one reporter. They sit alongside several other alleged attempts to minimise and obfuscate the RSF's role in the atrocities. Take a look at this article. In it, Sky News Arabia debunks false satellite imagery purporting to show a massacre in El Fasher. Now, this element of the report is factual. The image was falsely touted as evidence for an atrocity and went viral, drawing millions of views online. It actually shows what is likely livestock at a watering hole in a completely different area of Sudan. But if you dive deeper into the Sky News Arabia article, a wider picture starts to emerge. Let's look at it again. Pro-RSF bias is evident throughout the article. It suggests the Sudanese army, the RSF's opponents, created misinformation, like the livestock imagery, to mislead the world about killings in El Fasher. The article begins by saying that European investigations have, quote, revealed the extent of misinformation surrounding the events in El Fasher, and goes on to say that mass grave sites observed by satellite were in fact misleading content. However, the Western sources it quotes are taken out of context, agreeing that the image of livestock is misleading, while the extensive reports they have published verifying the mass graves are ignored. So it's just a one-sided article, right? Well, this isn't the only problem. Under the headline, "What Really Happened in El Fasher," the article casts a blanket of doubt on other verified sources of evidence. By saying that most of the fabricated material appeared immediately after the fall of El Fasher, it suggests the verified imagery viewers were seeing at the time is false. Take these images, for example. They are verified satellite images that show bodies and blood on the sand outside of the city. They were being widely reported in the international media at the same time as the article. The Sky News Arabia content works to make viewers question the material. Are these images actually real, or just part of a Sudanese army propaganda campaign against the RSF? But these aren't questions up for debate. The imagery is real. Those are bodies and blood on the sand. Sky News Arabia has not steered completely clear of covering atrocities in El Fasher. Take this article, for example. But it is much shorter than their stories casting doubt on what happened in El Fasher, and it is just one report among a sea of other articles that attempt to obfuscate the RSF's actions. A search for Sudan on Sky News Arabia returns precious little about the atrocities in El Fasher. Even before the fall of El Fasher, Sky News Arabia has long downplayed the RSF's role in alleged atrocities. When you take a step back to look at the whole picture, the result is a news environment that tries to paint the satellite imagery and videos that have emerged from El Fasher as largely false. Sky News Arabia is a joint venture split 50-50 between Sky and IMI. IMI is controlled by UAE Vice President Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The Telegraph approached both IMI and Sky News Arabia for comment on the allegations made in our report. For its part, Sky News Arabia issued a rejection of the allegations. It was outrageous and unfounded to say the channel downplayed RSF atrocities, the spokesman said, and added that the outlet had addressed crimes committed by both the RSF and Sudanese armed forces. On Ms Katir's interaction with the RSF commander, the spokesman said, Sky News Arabia has already addressed the matter internally, going on to add that to portray a brief encounter within a complex war zone as evidence of systemic editorial alignment is an egregious distortion. IMI itself is currently seeking parliamentary approval to take control of a 15% stake in the Telegraph.